Will and I were on the phone last night when this broke. You know what's nice? It's nice we know what the topic's going to be, even a few hours before. Will was very giddy in telling me, lead topic.
Well, I mean, when you get a criminal investigation of the former CIA director and former director of the FBI that pushed this Russia collusion hoax, I get excited to see justice may be served here.
July 9th, 2025. James Comey is the headline of the day because the FBI has decided maybe it's time we look into this, actually start an investigation into what's going on with Russia and with James Comey and everything that played into it.
So we are now finding out that both the former CIA Director John Brennan and the former FBI Director James Comey are under criminal investigation.
Whoa.
The former CIA Director John Brennan, there was a criminal referral sent over to the Department of Justice by current CIA Director John Ratcliffe. They referred evidence of wrongdoing by Brennan to FBI Director Kash Patel for potential prosecution. And sources have also said that there is an investigation into James Comey. Now, with James Comey, he was in the news with his 8647 seashells a few weeks ago.
Always finds a way to work his way back in.
This isn't about his seashells.
Not yet. That'll be in 5 more years.
This is about the Russiagate hoax that was perpetrated by John Brennan and James Comey. And we know that just a few days ago, right before the holiday, the 4th of July, the CIA declassified a review of the internal tradecraft that the CIA used in their review of the 2016 election. And they found a lot of issues. They found that there was a lot of abnormalities, like John Brennan himself getting into that review, being normally directors and senior staff like that look at the work product after. They don't become a part of that work product. There is an abbreviated timeline because the Obama administration wanted to get something out before President Trump took office, and things like John Brennan himself pushing for the inclusion of the Steele dossier, even at the protest of some of the other intelligence community members. So we've got this breaking news. They're under criminal investigation. There's some caution there, obviously, Logan, because
it's a source.
The FBI and DOJ don't normally talk about investigations. One of the anomalies to that was James Comey himself.
If there's 2 lawyers in America that know something about the situation with Comey and Brennan, it's Jay Sekulow and Jordan Sekulow. As you both said, we lived it. Look, I think this is long overdue. The question's going to be, is there an action that took place within the statute of limitations that would then justify going from a criminal investigation to a criminal prosecution? We know that the entire issue of the Steele dossier and the way they tried to basically shake down the then president-elect of the United States, we now know, of course, with the evidence that we gathered during the course of the impeachment proceedings and Bob Mueller's investigation, more particularly the Mueller investigation, we know that there was no violation of any law by the president. We know also that there was no collusion between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. That was the conclusion of Bob Mueller. Now, here's the issue that is important. James Comey oversaw the FBI at a critical time. It was during Crossfire Hurricane, which was the first investigation we now know of the sitting president of the United States, or then the president-elect, and also the candidate. Remember, though, once he was elected president in 2016, it was James Comey, the FBI, James Brennan, and John Brennan, these others, that decided that they would meet with President-elect Trump and brief him on the discredited dossier. It was a shakedown. That's what it was. It was an attempt to intimidate a president. It was a move to try to curtail the president's initiatives by distraction. And we also know that James Comey leaked a memo that he prepared in a government vehicle about a conversation he had with the President of the United States, and he leaked it to a law professor friend of his to get to the press. So should this be looked into criminally? You bet.
What should people be anticipating on what this investigation actually does look like in terms of a result?
Okay, so we should not hear about the investigation while it's ongoing. What we should hear is at the conclusion of the investigation, if the Department of Justice decides to make a move for a grand jury impaneling and then a prosecution. Do I think there's evidence of it to move forward? I think there's certainly enough to take it to this investigatory stage. I suspect that there will be enough for the investigative stage to morph into a prosecutorial stage. And then, of course, ultimately a trial. But they should be held with what they did. They tried to stop the government of the United States from operating according to the Constitution of the United States. So you bet they should be held accountable. And it's going to be, the interesting thing is the Ratcliffe, his decision to make a referral to the FBI, which is within the Department of Justice, of course, that means he had seen something. I don't know this, obviously. But I'm just looking at it from the reports indicate the referral came to the Department of Justice, rather, from John Ratcliffe over at CIA. Right. That tells me they saw something, or he saw something, that concerned him enough to know that there has been a violation of the law and moving that to now a criminal stage.
John Ratcliffe, just a few days ago on July 2nd, released a declassified Intel tradecraft review. And it gives a little bit of color to this because it appears John Brennan, either at the behest of the President of the United States, Barack Obama at the time, or on his own volition, got deep into this process in December after Trump was elected, before Trump would take office in that first term. And he was making decisions that were outside of CIA norms. And he was the one that insisted, even at the protest of other members of the intel community, of including the Steele dossier in this report.
I mean, we don't know the evidence of what they've seen or what new data they have gathered, but the nature of what happened justifies the investigation. There's no doubt about it. But remember this also. They were trying to take this guy down before he was elected. They were trying to take him down once he was elected. They were trying to take him down once he served in office. Then they did it all again and tried it again this time, and it didn't work, trying to remove him from ballots. So look, Comey and Brennan and a host of others, what they did was outrageous for the American people. It was a violation of the Constitution. And at the end of the day, this is why the ACLJ exists. We've been dealing with this up front for 7 years. It took that long to get attention to it now. I'm glad we did. I've been saying, if you went back and traced how long I've been saying this, it would be almost a decade, 7-8 years.
We don't know what's in the investigation, and that's good. We shouldn't know while they're investigating. But if they can, and they can prosecute these people, then, and there is the evidence to do so, and a grand jury returns an indictment, that is a good thing for the country. But one of those things, when you have that 4-year gap, and that pushes out beyond the statute of limitations for many of the things that could be brought against them, we don't know what they are. We don't know when they're alleging it happened. But if there is something that can be prosecuted, I think that would be good for the country.